Yeah.
So we were thinking we could give a little update on some of the preparations that we've done. And then if anyone wanted to get anything recorded, if you felt like you needed to say something that needed to be said, if you felt like you needed to record something for later on, this is recorded and the cameras record anything that we say up here and anything at the podium, the one podium. And then after that, this is an ad hoc conversation. So we're happy. We don't have to like keep the distance. We can kind of just meet in the middle and start doing a little bit more of a personal conversation. And so that's and even what I'm saying right now is up for it's just food for thought. So feel free to jump in as needed. Um, and so we'll give some updates.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, everybody. Joseph Bonamolo here. I know some of you and Tom Ivy, councilman. So yeah, we had a discussion with Tim and Zach. We asked about grants. I think that was the big topic of discussion. And there's someone that works, a consulting firm that works for Grass Valley City, a Matt something, I don't know what Matt's last name is, but he's actively working on grants right now. I personally went online and looked at opportunities for grants because I think the grant consultant that we work with tends to look for bigger grants. But there are smaller grants out there. And I think I had a conversation with Bob, and I probably should have had it with Andy as well. But the coalitions that you guys form can also seek these grants. So for instance, the one I looked at right away was a governmental grant, was like 25 grand, but that times 3 is 75,000. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at, right? So right away out the gate, there are grants that we can get. It's not necessarily the grants that our consultant is looking for, because he tends once again to look for larger grants. But that doesn't mean we maybe can't prompt him a little bit on that, through city manager or whatever, as well as working through the coalitions to try to go after these grants. And I've never been a grant writer, but I'm a pretty good writer. So I was asking, hey, can I learn some of these skills to maybe write a grant? But that's something we'll probably discover through this process, and how we can access additional grants. The funding possibilities that we discussed in our meeting was through Major E, which those are pretty far out, unfortunately, but still, accessible money down the road. And then what was the other? Oh, then the grants. And so, tonight's mission, I think, is to brainstorm with everybody, is to figure out through our coalitions how willing, you guys are to, I think you're pretty willing to get out there and seek some of these grants. The other avenues, which, are a little less desirable, but this community seems to give a lot. So we can try to have some, functions at Condon possibly to raise funds through maybe some continual efforts from both of us, but really the skating community, and to bring the public out, because, I remember walking, I've been out there a few times talking to you guys, and I've engaged with people that aren't part of the skating community, that were just walking around and they threw their, 2 cents out. And I think a lot of people in our community, even if they aren't a skater, are interested in backing, what we're doing here. And I think historically, and especially because I know I worked at the county for the Veterans Association a couple years ago, just for a couple months, through the Connecting Point thing. And it was discussed and known that our county provides a lot of individual donation, even, more than 50% of what the county gets sometimes. So meaning that a lot of people in our community are willing to give. And you guys know this from the original skate build and how the community got involved. And so I think that continues, and we'll have some, success in getting out there and petitioning the community to get involved and donate, as well as working with the grant processes and, any other avenues that we can find. So I think that's a good starting point. What do you?
Yeah, that's the gist of it. We staff, Zach and our engineering department wanted to start getting the environmental documents from adjacent to the current skate park ready for that expansion. So there was she was getting the maps submitted, getting the environmental processes started, just so as that fundraising becomes real, we're ready. And grant applications, I think, score more highly when you have preparation of various sorts in place. And so that was a step. Measure E, just to explain, is a special sales tax that the city of Grass Valley has on top of its sales tax, and it is for like 4 different areas of city functions: fire, police, parks, and maybe something else. I'm not sure, but so it trickles in. It takes a couple of years to kind of designate that money, right? So we can't. So that's why we don't really just have like additional Measure E funding ready for the next skate park, because people similar to this have been planning for years, right? So we want to start that process. Let's get that designated as soon as possible, and that takes 5 years or something like that. And so that was, but we want to make sure that like we're in line. And then we briefly talked to that the idea of the smaller skate features like throughout town was pretty attainable, and so we need your input and suggestions City of Grass Valley engineers wear a lot of hats, so they have to do like a number of different jobs that bigger cities might have like specialists. So like just keep throwing ideas out there. A lot of the ideas won't work for one reason or another, but sooner or later we're going to get some other small little skate features because it does work and we can afford it. And maybe that's just a little step. So
yeah, and specifically during our meeting, we brought up the idea of what Tom actually did. They're going to put in that large peanut roundabout, and Tom was like, "Hey, there's some room in the middle of those. We could throw some skate stuff in there." So those are the kind of ideas that, we need to be creative and work together and start, brainstorming on this stuff. Kind of jokingly today, even though I would think it would be awesome, but well, there are certain properties that the city may acquire or that they have. And so I don't think I'm allowed to be specific on this one, but I was like, hey, skate park, skate park. And I think even the mayor was like, roller rink, So I was like, cool, yeah, let's keep on, like pushing that through, every possible opportunity that we can garner, that we can gain. And so once again, that, this meeting is not for us just to speak. Like Tom said, I think we need to, after we're done kind of giving this main presentation, is get your guys' questions and your input, and like with Bob and his coalition and Andy and his coalition, how we can work into going after these other smaller grants, and or the Skate Park Foundation, right, is another one. Tony Hawk, what used to be the Tony Hawk Foundation, the Skate Park Foundation. So there are a handful at least out there. Some are in other states, but the big ones like the Skate Park Foundation, and then some through federal government or state government grants, are attainable. They're just smaller grants that, are not necessarily our guy goes after. But that doesn't mean we can't go after them, the coalitions especially. And I personally may even try to take steps to figure out how to write grants, because I'm a pretty good writer, but that's a whole different, ball of wax right there. But it would take some training or whatever. But that's, once again, those are all attainable, endeavors. So let's just, anybody have questions right off the bat? I was hoping to see a couple other people here. Wait, is that Eric back there, Gorman? Yeah. So, a couple of you guys, we've been communicating a lot, and so I know some of you guys have some pretty good ideas, but jump with the hands and let's see what we can figure out. What's your name?
coalition.
Announce your name so everybody knows who's talking.
Right?
Hey, Mikey.
But coalition means alliance, right?
I mean,
Alliance.
yeah.
Well, this is not a line.
Well, is it too late to start? I think we need to become aligned. That's the focus of this meeting, you know?
The slander and libel against Good Times and Andy. And everybody seems that Andy gets all the money. They don't understand how government works. That's all I gotta say.
Well, you know,
Do some research.
yeah.
There's thousands of words. Thousands. There's threats.
Point well taken, you know, point well taken, Mikey. I think, you know, there's been some, you know, some, a rift maybe. However, man, this is a time to bring us together. You know, that's what this is all about. We need to put that and, you know, let's like leave that behind. I get it. It's a concern. It's a valid concern, but I think this is a time where we need to mend and bring our hearts together and work, you know, in a common way, because, you know, that's the way you get things done. We can't have infighting and we can't have, you know, we're all going to have differences, but if we can collectively come together and put that on the table and kind of maybe agree to disagree about some of the stuff that's happened in the past, you know, not everybody's always going to be happy. You know, I personally wasn't thrilled about the park being destroyed and then, you know, the division. However, let's bring it up. Let's bring it together, man. Yeah.
That's 100%. I agree with you, and I would love for everybody to come together as a community. But when threats are made against individuals and business owners,
Yeah.
based on find something factual.
Well, just to.
Eric, I know you, fool. What are you doing?
Honestly, so let's just try to move away from that. You know, I think honestly, this is the time. This is the time we don't need to perpetuate any kind of you know, odd oddities. You know, let's just put that in the background, in the shade, okay, and let's move forward in a real positive way, because it doesn't really matter how you know, we felt in the past. We now have a conclusion to that, which is they built a new skate park. We have to live with that, but now we can try to improve upon that and expand it, seek out other areas in the community. And all we can do is really work together going forward. You know, it's not going to be productive to not do that. So, you know, I get your concern and all, but I think everybody's here. So let's come together as a group right now and let's knock it out of the park, you know, without pointing fingers and bringing up names, because it's just going to create more animosity. I mean, I think you guys have been friends long enough, and I've lived in this community for 43 years, graduated high school here. There's people that I've had differences with, but over time, you know, time kind of heals all wounds, and we just need to mend those fences and get on the right track. So I get it, but let's focus on what's really important, and that's kicking some butt on this, you know, like getting aggressive, going after those grants. You know, like I said, just coming together, working with the coalitions, no matter what the differences have been in the past. Let's support our local businesses. Let's move forward and just do the best we can, because, you know, honestly, if we don't do that, we're going to be stuck on the same boat, you know, that we were before. So that's where I think I see heads, you know, nodding. You know, I think that's where we have to go, no matter what. You know, like I said, sometimes you just got to put that in the past and just do the best you can moving forward, regardless of you know, feelings. So let's try to be adults in the room and make it happen, you know.
And 15 over the past 20 years, I can't even count how many times I've cooked for all these people. And I've built more skateboarding obstacles in this county, in Nevada City or Grass Valley, that I don't know. Find somebody else that's put in more free time.
I love it.
I work 6 days a week. So.
Hey, I feel you, man. I'm a single father. I homeschool, and I stepped up to do this job because more people need to step up to do the right thing. So let's do the right thing. Let's just step up. Let's just start working together. I think, you know, once again, I appreciate all you've done. I mean, you know, I appreciate what a lot of people have done and how they stepped up and written letters and voiced their opinions, have been to meetings and meetings and meetings and put their faith in it. You know, some unfortunately it didn't work out the way that everybody thought it would. But at this point, we can't kind of like, you know, dwell on that. I think we just need to like come together and really put our best foot forward and provide solutions. You know, this is something, the way that I try to get things done is you got to look at all sides, but then you provide solutions. You know, that's the way to solve it. So you provide remedy, you provide solutions. And so we need to be solution and remedy oriented and throw our ideas out there. Let's hear some ideas on what we can do. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, my name's Will. I love it. Thanks, I guess I'll just throw it out there right away. It's an idea I've had for a while. It's something that could be a feature that could be implemented in an existing skate park or any of these new community designated spaces. So the idea is it's a skatable feature that has a second purpose. So it's also basically a ledge to begin with, but it's also a recycling center for people, because we generate, you know, in all these places, you know, unfortunately we do generate trash, and some of that trash could be being redeemed and then being put back into the community. So we're all trying to figure out ways to raise money, and maybe cans don't raise, you know, millions of dollars right away. But I think even at GB Park, they raise about $400 to $500 a month when people do pick them up currently.
Yeah.
So we could be teaching kids to clean and having fun skating this thing. So that's kind of the idea.
I love it, Will. I absolutely love it.
Research grants, and a lot of them incorporate recycling. And so there are some grants out of Southern California that will give, they're small, but if you incorporate recycling into your park, they'll do our ops to give you money because it's environmentally healthy. So I think that's something we should probably start with.
I mean,
Brad.
honestly, sounds like an amazing idea. I think this community is minded that way already, you know, so that kind of fits right in with right.
The page in to get a, you know, with it.
Yeah, a bear box.
Yeah.
The first thing I had in mind.
Because otherwise people are just
So I
gonna
was
take
like-
the recycling that you're donating to the cause.
You can't go in, but you can't take them out.
Yeah.
So one community person.
They stole the water.
In that, yeah.
So recycling boxes.
Super rad. We need more CRV centers. So I mean, there's tons of money associated with CRV centers. So yeah, that's awesome.
Big feature. So make the box an actual skate feature so people can be doing their tricks on it and all that kind of.
Yeah, they'll explain to people written on there, you know, what's happening with those funds.
Yeah.
People might be able to access that to see the account as it builds.
Right, and then, you know, we could probably include some of that literature in our, on our city page and, you know, direct people,
Make a plaque.
you know, things like that. And maybe get the historical and historical society involved with that. They like plaques, you know, they're always pitching us for plaques. So, you know, and I mean, Condon it's I think even Bob was talking about that, as that, because what was that what was that angle on the park where, you know, if it became a historical landmark, right? You know, so I mean, these are great ideas to get more people involved in our city. Once we get people involved in the city, it snowballs. You know, I mean, I can give personal accounts of that, and I think with the first skate park, you guys saw that. You know, you get a lot of support, and that's what we really just need to push forward in a positive way. Put the literature out there, get people working together. You know, if Bob's having his meetings or Andy are having their meetings for their coalition, we need to have more people attend, or get that information out so that people know that we're working on this. You know, it's just a matter of putting a lot of irons in the fire, right? You know, when you start putting a lot of irons in the fire, man, one of them's going to get hot, and then it's on. So, all right, other comments, please. Yes.
What spaces have been identified for these potential pocket parks or that, even the space club, you know, adjacent to the skate park, currently it's being built? you know, I take it part of the space behind it, but I'm just kind of wondering if you guys have analyzed it, like what's the square footage might be available for that.
Not really. Yeah, early days.
But, you know, in terms of the pocket parks and costs and stuff, I know like a lot of times, you know, skaters will come with, you know, concrete and their own elements, you know, as long as they're granted the space and the permission. So they want to.
We have a track record of, in the past, I know that it's going to feel tough hearing this right now after the skate process, but we're totally open to working to together and outside the box thinking. The process does not have to be the same next time. I almost guarantee we're not going to go out to RFP like we did this last time. So we're willing to work together and get more involved. Lessons were learned. We're down just for small features and for big features, but yeah.
Orion. Yep.
He did mention that he would provide kind of a general area around the park to kind of start with looking at expansion.
Which park?
That Condon.
Yeah.
But if you guys could follow up on it too, maybe
course.
seeing like what area is there to work with.
So well, and I'm sorry to interrupt you multiple times, and I will quit doing that in a second. We asked them to just because that was somewhat of a public discussion. Am I wrong to double in size in the future? And so that would have gone towards Brighton Street. We asked staff, and staff is going to look at exactly that. And then that discussion will come back for more. But we're going to start doing the homework there so that we can have proper first steps in those discussions.
Eric.
Tim did say during that meeting that he was willing to give us another 15,000 square feet to match the footprint of the park that has yet to be built.
Yep.
So yeah, doubling it sounds pretty
And
appealing to all of us, I would say.
yeah, and not only that, I mean, Condon has a lot of room, you know. So this isn't just this, you know, next step. We may have multiple next steps, you know, over the years. So, and then as far as other pockets are concerned, like you know, like Tom had brought up about the peanut, you know, and then you know, I just have like they're small ideas, but they're good ideas. Like you know, because I was part of the Orca swim team for the last 3 years, Grass Valley swim team at Memorial, and we did a swimathon every year. We raised you know 5-10 grand, whatever it was, you know, and we solicited businesses for gift certificates that we auctioned off. I mean, there's a lot of avenues to go out there and get the community involved. And you guys could have like a skate-a-thon or a skate off or, you know, trick off or whatever, you know, whatever you're going to do. But I mean, and not just one, you know, we go for multiple events, have a party in the park, man. You know, I mean, let's like do it. Let's like, you know, how they do it down at Gateway, you know, they got a whole, bandstand there, but I mean, we could like lobby to have some really great artists come up here and, you know, maybe charge some, you know, you guys somehow we work it out to, I don't know if we can do that in the city park, but I'm sure we could, you know, I don't know. I mean, there's definitely options to put forth and to see if they're viable, and or, you know, just make it happen, right? Let's just make it happen. And there's a will, there's a way. Yeah, Will, speaking of Will.
Got one. You know, Red Fox, small, but so you could raise money in a way is to do like movie nights at the current park at the top. We just need a projector.
Beautiful.
Even if it's $5, you just chip in, whatever.
Beautiful.
Sit in your car, skate, you got fairy lights, the vibes are good, and it's
You know?
raising money.
I'm sure we could work with GVPD too, because already Zach Lafieri is a like representative kind of down there that works with you guys in the past, and he's like totally supportive of you guys. I know I've had conversations with him. And I'm sure there's even other, you know, there's other people on the force or within the community that could step up in that way. You know, once again, it's just like bring the ideas to the table and then, you know, set the table and then let's eat, you know? So, it's just a continual effort. I mean, I'm totally down to put as much time as I can. Like I said, I love this town. I've been in this town for a long time. I've been using Condon Park. Like as soon as we moved here, I was in a pro-am. My parents at 14 years old put me in a pro-am disc golf tournament there, and I wasn't very good. So I'm pretty competitive. I wasn't very happy that day. but I got a lot better, you know, and so I've used that park over and over and over, and I love this park. And I just think there's so much potential to do things there. It brings a lot of people out, whether they're from this town or not. And if they're not from this town, they get the hint that we're doing stuff like this, they're going to be on board. You know, as you guys described, the skating community is not just here; it's all over the country, and you guys are all kind of connected. You know, so the word gets out about this, and you're going to have people come from all over to support, and then the word will get out, and it's going to get big. You know. So that's the kind of focus we need to make sure we maintain. Zarin.
It's been like that for a couple of years since they redid it.
Oh, the one across the street there?
It's the back parking lot. It's just
I don't know.
There was a plan to put like a YMCA kind of building there or a rec building, with the park improvement, but there was no funds to actually build it, so that space is generally reserved for a small rec building.
I was just curious.
I mean, that was the idea at the time, not to say that that could change.
Right. Plans change, right?
The pump track was supposed to be getting put in over in that Brunswick area. And he mentioned kind of building off of that.
Yep.
Building a skate spot off of that.
Yep.
And he also mentioned like grants would kind of determine kind of what we start with. I like how you threw out that there's grants for the recycling, and that could be, I mean, those little ledges could be anywhere around town, you know, and
Yeah.
be donating towards skating, but once that pump track is up, that could also be one of the things to throw in there and maybe start with.
There's some space there. There's some space there for some small features. The pump track is like very similar to this. People, some of the local bike community has been super stoked for a long time. So we can't, give up on the pump track idea, but we're still totally flexible. And I don't know, maybe you guys know, I think the pump tracks folks are really, really happy with asphalt and dirt and wood. I don't know that we're gonna have any dirt in the pump track design, but we are gonna have like asphalt. So I didn't know if that worked for skating or not, or how we get cohesive there, how we carve out a little space. I know that we've talked a lot about cement lately, right? That's really all I know. So, there's space there. There's space. Matino Park is kind of up for grabs a little bit. And then, one thing that we should just bring up is that when a lot of the larger grants require at least like a half-fledged idea, like maybe a map, maybe you can still change the idea, but if you have somewhat of an idea set aside and you have like 30% funding, you unlock like tons of money. And City of Grass Valley has done that over the years. Like tens of millions of dollars have gone to parks via being prepared like that. And so like the movie nights and the recycling and Measure E funding all taking like 5 to 10 years to carve out a few $100,000, right? Suddenly we can leverage that into the next big thing. And so we should not like scoff at all about every cent that we can raise. I mean, this is totally has potential.
Yeah, short term, long term, we just need to go after it, you guys. We need to focus on every possibility and chase it down, and see what happens. I mean, that's all you can do, right? Yeah, somebody else, but go ahead. Yeah, Eric, and then Orion.
Yeah, so I know we were talking about pocket parks a lot, Tim, during our meeting, Orion and I, and he did say that if we were able to find some small grants that totaled the half of the cost of a project, right? The example he gave was, maybe 1,000 square foot of skate park is gonna cost $100,000. We get a grant for 50, city will consider pitching the rest, right? So I definitely want to see the city putting forth some funds, because those are all our tax dollars too, and we want resources within our community based on those tax dollars that we're throwing out. So I'm more than happy to do labor looking for grant funding, but I also want the city to back whatever grant funding we obtain.
Yeah. Well, to your point, once again, that, when I did my research right after the last meeting we had with Zach and Tim and Tom, I went straight to my computer and I was trying to find it before I got here and I could not find it for some reason, but I should have just printed it out. But it was a $25,000 grant, right? And you get Bob's coalition, you get Andy's coalition that can also apply for that grant. That's 75 grand right there, you know, or 50 grand if we weren't able to obtain it. And then there's the match, like you said, you know, so every little grant is going to be, you know, important to at least check out, do the research on, see if we can, you know, obtain that. And, you know, and then look at the big stuff too, like, you know, the skate park foundation, Tony Hawk. I mean, I know he was here, right? 25 years ago, right? He was here in town. So I know you guys got some connections out there. I know some of you, 2003. So, okay, 22 years. Yeah. So, but I know you guys got connects, you know, I got some connects too. So let's put our connects together. Yes, sir.
About the skate park foundation, I'm pretty sure that they favor like underserved areas. Like their grant priority goes to areas that are underserved. So do you think Grass Valley would be considered like an underserved area?
I mean, I would say that any community right now across America is underserved with the last 4 years of, you know, inflation and every price of everything being sky high, everybody's struggling and surviving. I think that case is pretty easily made.
Like it has a new park already. You know, I wonder if they would be willing to. Well, I mean, it's not worth. I mean, it's worth trying.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there any way we can get information from the city on the demographics of Grass Valley and Nevada County?
Oh, yeah,
So that we can put that to use for our grant writing?
I believe
Because
so.
I've actually researched grants quite a bit and have someone who's a volunteer, who's not on our board, but she's volunteering, who's really trying hard with the State Park Coalition and other grants. But we need that information, that solid information from you guys
Of course.
to be able to write those grants. So is there any way we can get that emailed over to the Nevada County Skate or somewhere where we can share it?
What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I can get it to you.
Thanks.
It's down with the city. If anybody might stack my cards, you have my contact information. Sure, but if you guys have questions or any information, hit me up.
I'll give it to them.
I mean,
Zach is the-
staff, right?
Yeah.
So he's gonna be privy to a lot of the information that we could try to get, but he's got his finger on the pulse already with a lot of that. So he's an important contact and liaison throughout all this as well. And you know, as councilmen, we'll do our due diligence as well to pursue every avenue.
He'll loan you $5. Give you a ride.
Also, our nonprofit's raising money currently for lights at the Grass Valley Park. So I'm sure you guys are aware of that. That's kind of what we've been working towards for
Right.
a while.
Yeah.
So I mean, we want to work towards more skate spaces too, but like we've been pretty laser focused on getting lighting for the park. So that's definitely like within the scope of things, right? Like for the park to have that in the future.
Absolutely. I know that we know that conversation and all that, Zach.
Well, let's just say we're putting in conduit with this project, so the conduit's there.
Yeah.
So it'd have to go through an approval process to actually get the lighting in.
When should that approval process start? Just so we know. When should we start getting that process?
Yeah, I mean, first thing is funding.
Yeah.
I mean, to go along with it, so.
Well, we wouldn't want to.
Part of what you guys are doing.
We don't wanna fund if it's not possible.
Yeah, if it's not gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah.
We kind of had this conversation about
Yeah.
giving you guys a realistic, you know, target or, you know, don't want to raise the funds, making false promises that.
We also tell people that if we can get lights, it will go towards seating and shade structures and stuff like that. We let the public know.
There's a more articulate conversation to have there. Like, I think, like, I don't know if we have to vote on lights or if there's codes that have to change or whatnot, but I would think that it's pretty possible. I can't speak for anything that comes to a vote, but tonight, like, we want you to know that we're here and we're like committed to being here and having these conversations. And then if we need to have like a slightly more in-depth conversation afterwards, we're here for that. And we're here for the next conversation. And we play a slightly different role than Zach. Zach's in charge of all the parks in Grass Valley and is a resource there. And we play our role, Joe and I. So we're here for all that.
Saw a question back here and then here. So what's your name?
What are the chances of the city identifying a place, a spot where the skate community could do a do-it-yourself build?
I have actually can follow up. There's a spot near Bennett Street that's just an open field. Maybe it's privately owned. Is it
Places are doing that. I don't know if you've been to Auburn, but it's my kid's favorite place to skate right now. Behind Best Buy, they just started making
Cool.
stuff there.
I have no idea how our insurance handles that, but I'm happy to figure that out. I'm like, I believe it. I believe it, and it sounds rad, and I was not trying to put that down at all. I just don't know the answer, but I'd love to know the answer. So we'll look into that.
I spent my money, I'm keeping it all, sorry, guys. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, party's at his house. Back in the back.
I was just gonna ask, can the city go after those, like the big, county floor grants?
As many as we can get, or as often as we can get, I think, I mean, depending upon.
There's no limit, yeah, I mean, anytime it comes up and you're eligible, so,
Well, and I wonder what makes us eligible, do we have to like spend the previous money first? Or is it, since it's already allocated, it's already spent?
yeah, not always, yeah, you can be applying for another grant, while you're still,
How often does that one come up, like every year? Or
I don't think so, I think it's probably every 3 years.
every 3 years? Yeah, interesting.
I want to add to the grant thing in the meeting with Tim Kaiser. He did say that the city has like a special consulting company to apply for grants. He did mention if we are doing our research and we find grants, we can send them to him.
Yeah.
To which he can transfer that to the consulting company and they can either apply for it for us. Tell us why we wouldn't be able to apply.
Or work in cohesion. If it only nonprofits can apply, we're happy to keep thinking, keep figuring. Yep.
So should we try the skate park? Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Should we try the skate park foundation one then? Cause that's.
I would.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is that our role as a nonprofit or is that the city, how should we navigate?
I think any or all, like we can ask, we can.
I mean,
I don't know the answer.
I don't want to include that whole thing, but I've looked into it and I think you're on the right track.
Right too.
We are a disadvantaged community, but we're building a brand new skate park. They have a whole calculation for, they look at your population, how much skatable area you have, do you need more square footage? We do that calculations. We fit the.
Maybe Nevada County needs a skate park.
I'll just say this,
That's needs one and it's underserved community, but this is Grass Valley, so I don't know if we would even have that conversation.
I'll just say this, the greasy wheel gets the oil, man, and I don't think anything's ever out of reach, you just try. There's always an exception to the rule.
Can the city, work towards getting parks in places other than Grass Valley?
No, not really. That was a little bit. I mean, we're happy to, but no, I mean it. Yep.
I think communication is huge throughout all this. I go out and I talk to people in the store I don't know every day. And I learn something and I gain new relationships and I learn stuff from people. And there's a lot of people in this community that are willing to give. Guys, the property owner, somebody, maybe somebody go talk to that property owner and say, hey man,
He's not about it.
he's not about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you never know though, but it's worth a try, right? That's the kind of the gist of what we're getting at here is all opportunities are open. And we just need to try to pursue as many avenues as we can and work together, communicate about it. What you got, Bob?
Hi, this is my talk. And you said you're recording, right?
We're recording. You're welcome. Anyone's welcome to talk up there.
Because I do have a bunch of people that are tuning in.
Cool.
If it's streaming or to see the replay, right?
Yeah, I think it'll be replay.
So just a couple quick things I want to touch on. Mainly, Mikey, we love you. Just skating with you the other night, right? Dude, it was a touchy subject. Gotta admit that. People appreciate everything. I've reached out, right? Different levels. Didn't really go the way I thought it would, but doesn't mean that stepping forward can't be different, right? And of course, other people are gonna have different levels of appreciation. I've always appreciated everything you've done, right? for the reason why we are doing what we're doing is what they've said. It's better to have more people involved in different groups because we can get more grants in that way. You see the food banks that my family's involved with, the food bank in Nevada County. You know how many of those there are, nonprofits of those? So they can all get their own grants. They kind of all work together, interfaith, food bank in Nevada County, United Way. Same type of thing. It's for our own reasons. I've always done my own thing, right? Why can't I now? Right? I make my own boards, make my own spots, go skate with you, other people, by ourselves. So it's nothing out of disrespect. I've said it a few times now. But you know what? We're here for a different issue on tonight. You know what I mean? If anything's happening with other people, that's something that gets hammered out, not in public, right? So we'll keep it at that. The other thing, like I said, is starting same thing why you guys did it, is to apply for grants, be able to collect stuff in the name of something, which we're doing. We're kind of are gonna expand, which our contacts through the county, which a couple people brought up, we're looking outside of Grass Valley, right? Because there's the county grants, there's a lot bigger fund to pull from. So like Penn Valley's unincorporated, North San Juan's unincorporated, that's all through the county. That's something that they can't directly help, but they can advise and they can point us towards the people to talk to. So we don't want to be pigeonholed into just here because that already happened. We're gonna get through that. You gotta admit that's a touchy subject for some people. Some people that have no connection to it may have not understood why you guys making such a big fuss. I've heard that like a dozen times. It's like it's nothing personal. That's just what we thought should have been done. It could have been done. It's in the past, right? What?
You made it personal when you started
Me personally? Who? By what? Finish what you're saying.
the coalition.
Yeah, but
I don't know if
that's just a title. Yeah, exactly. First off, and plus that's just a title, just how you guys have your title. It's something on paperwork. Okay, it's nothing, it's no different than a title for. I really don't though, because what have I personally done? And we're not really talking about that right now.
Conversation outside.
Exactly. And you know what? And exactly, and that's why I did mention it briefly and say, hey, you know what? When all that,
You know what I'm talking about?
hey, but you also know that I was trying to help with that, right? You can confirm that, right? I did come to you and say, hey, let me help out. Let me see what we can do. It kind of didn't really go further than that. But me personally, and people can back me up, it's not me saying stuff like you think, okay? So don't even point that finger at me. And we're gonna keep it at that.
We are going to wrap that up and we are just
Exactly.
going to give what we're going to give going forward. And I think, Joe, I appreciate your leadership on that earlier, is we're going to give you the space to handle that in the most positive way
And that's
moving
great.
forward.
We
And
have talked about that. And that's
Yeah.
what needs to be done because we're moving forward, correct?
Communication is everything, guys. You know, when we communicate, we work our problems out, we solve problems and we move forward. And I think just you gotta, you know, the communication is where it's at. We have to, no matter what it's happened in the past, we gotta move forward and communicate to get things done. That's how you remedy the problem, simply by, you know, communicating and working. And I think, you know, I got a lot of workers in here, man. You guys are motivated. You guys put your foot forward. I've seen it in this community, you know. You're talking about it right now. And you've all showed up today, you know, a lot of you have shown up today, and that's impressive. We need to continue to have that and more.
Yeah, and I do thank you, and I think we all thank you throughout the whole process.
cheers. Same to
You
y'all.
guys-
Cheers, man.
So thank you.
Cheers.
I mean, dude, help us out. Like,
Hey, man.
if you need help, we're just skateboarders. You know what I mean? So.
We councilmen have love in our hearts.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
And women. So, yeah, you know, I think what we need to determine also in this meeting is how many times a month we're gonna have this meeting. You know, right now it's one time a month. But that's open to discussion. And I think we can also have possibly some meetings in the park, you know. That was kind of something that we talked about, and we can record it there as well and put that on YouTube, whatever. Yeah, well, or maybe early morning, late night, right? But bring your mosquito repellent. But I mean, I think once again, the effort here is to continue to have communication and dialogue and to gather, you know, because I'll just give you guys, I don't want to go on my own little limb and toot my own horn, but like, you know, 5 years ago, I started an assembly in this county. And I don't ever take full credit for that because I saw this community come together. It was huge. We had over, 150, 200 people a meeting every week. And the people, when they walked in, and they're like, man, I found my tribe. I found my people. I found my crowd. It was powerful, you guys. It was really moving to see people come together and work and solve problems. And I've seen it. And it is amazing to watch and be a part of. So you guys are doing that right now. And to continue on with that and to grow and to become more powerful it's amazing. It's awesome to see it. It makes the hairs on my back of my neck stand up, it gives you chills. So that's what we need to, realize is we have camaraderie in this community. We have, participation. And when you get that all together and you start, like I said, it snowballs, and then you kind of can't stop that. Like our assembly for a good while was pretty unstoppable until, well, I won't say what happened, but some of you know, but it doesn't really matter because the effort was there, and this community is tight like that. We can all come together, even the people that aren't skating, they'll come out and support. So let's just carry that kind of confident notion forward, and the rest falls into place, man. Yep.
How willing will y'all be to let volunteers go and build when Grindline says we need extra people today? If you sign a waiver with no labor, if you just sign it, can we go help build the park?
I mean, that's between you and Grindline, I think, right? Right? Yeah, I mean,
Well, I'll be there on that day.
there's lots of there's lots of volunteerism in this community. I mean, you see it like the firewood for the elderly, you see lots of other, I mean, that's just one I can think of right off the top of my head. So there's lots of opportunity for people to get involved. And once they learn what's going on and what your mission is, it's powerful. So that's what and volunteer. That's a great point, man. I mean, I volunteer a lot. I teach my kids to, I mean, I'm hearing you. I need to get your number, man. You're a good guy to know, So I'm surprised I don't already know you, but you make a great point, and that is we stay involved and we participate, and then things happen. What's your question?
So I mean, I wasn't here for the previous meeting before this, so I may have missed it. So it might just be a fill-in for me. But as of right now, as community members, besides fundraising and doing stuff like that, is there other steps we can take to? I mean, I guess you guys are doing a little bit for finding square footage, and there's permits that need to be changed or codes that need to be changed, or zoning or whatever. Is there anything as community members that we can do to speed up that process or encourage more forward momentum, just from the city's perspective?
If there was like, I would say, if an idea starts to hit critical mass, you will get more movement, right? So if like one person on their street complains about a car speeding, the city of Grass Valley is not going to go put a speed bump in front of that house. But if the entire street starts to say something, that's when the streets get a speed bump. And so if we definitely have a pocket park or whatever, and it's just like totally obvious what kind of features would go there, and everyone is pretty stoked on the idea. That's the type of kind of collaboration and like cat herding of the community that, and no disrespect to anyone in the community, I mean, just getting humans together and agree on stuff kind of sometimes takes a little bit of work. And so, if you can put your finger on that idea, we don't know what that idea is yet. And so, Montino Park, when the city of Grass Valley had more money in years past, we were like asking for people to propose ideas for how to use some parts of Montino Park. And so nothing came of that at that time. The neighbors have a very strong attachment to the park, so there are these like weird little human processes, but that's just kind of some food for thought.
And to add on to that real quick, and then we'll get to, is that show up at the council meeting too, and bring it up, come up and make your public, statements. Tell people to watch YouTube video, talk to your grandma, talk to your relatives, even if it's kids, talk to them and encourage them to get involved. And the more people get involved, like Tom said, you get a whole street, you get a whole village of people clamoring for change, and the change, like I said, the greasy wheel, the rusty wheel, gets the
Greasy wheel
grease,
gets
man,
squeaking, don't you ever say
squeaky
that.
wheel. So that's the idea, and that's going right back to when the assembly happened. And I personally just put that energy out there. I talked to everybody I knew. I was making phone calls. I went to county supervisor meetings. I didn't attend a lot of Grass Valley meetings, but I have in the past. But I went to the county and I spoke about what was bothering me, and then people caught on, and we all banded together. And when you band together, it just happens. That's when the magic happens, man. The beauty happens. So who else? Yeah.
I was wondering if you had examples of like art grants the city's gotten recently, and if we could potentially get a skatable art piece grant. So what's the most recent like art installation the city's had, and what was that grant process like?
I'm not sure that we've hauled in any art grants. We've had some private donors that are really big on murals.
Okay.
And there's been like a couple people in the community that have funded all the murals.
Yeah, I mean, art and skate art mix well, right? It's all forms of art, so.
And so is the expansion of Condon set in stone? That is going to happen?
No, but
No.
we're doing our darndest. That's what we can promise today.
That's why we're
Is
here. Yeah.
we can promise we can do everything possible, but don't
You
let.
can't get that in writing that it's gonna be expanded?
I mean, we can't cement it in, but we sure are working on it, and we're sure presenting the ideas.
Get it in writing, so our nonprofits can release to the community that like.
We could probably get a letter of support.
Yeah.
But know that we're talking when a project that big sounds, there's like years and many votes of funding
But
but
this is going to happen.
I mean, it's
Instead of just there being rumors about it, potentially happening, that we can go out and be like, this is gonna happen, obviously it needs funding, but what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I think the city's gonna relies a lot on grant funding, and really you're trying to be as competitive as you can be when that grant comes up. So it might be expanding the existing park. That can happen quicker than building a new park because there's less environmental that has to be done. So maybe that's the grant allows you to go for an expansion, or there might be a different grant that hey, you get more points if you're building a new park, a new space, somewhere that's different part of town that provides opportunities to a different population of the city. So I think this whole ad hoc committee initially started talking about hey, how to expand Condon, but the conversation may flex or change at some point. Hey, how do we just get more square footage period, whether that's expansion, whether that's building somewhere else. So I think for us to say, yeah, for sure that city's gonna expand Condon, and that's what we're gonna throw everything at. I think that'd be ill-advised because we want to be as flexible as possible so we can find that funding.
we could say things like the land adjacent to the skate park is set aside for the future skate park. The city of Grass Valley.
Could you guys do that? Is something?
I think so.
We should really do that so that we can know.
Build momentum.
Reality.
Yeah.
The
intent is there.
Other city councilors need to weigh in, which is why there's the think. And then when funding gets involved, that's where things like really get dicey. I mean, everyone, so that's why we can't, that's why I'm like, maybe, but.
We want to know like what we're working towards here and if it's truly feasible,
That land is not gonna go anywhere else. Like everyone in the room, in the building knows that land is has a lot of community attachment to that going for a future skate park. And so if we can put a letter of support to something like that, I'm sure that's possible, whether we can say it's funded or like we're definitely going to build it. That's the type of thing that, if the budget contracts in 2 years and we're laying people off, right, they're going to be like, yeah, you're going to build a skate park and then I'm going to lose my job, right? We're scared of that type of situation. And so, but I know you're not saying that, but that's
the reality.
the funding, every time we attach funding to something, things get a little tricky, so that's.
To give you guys an example real quick too, you know, like, okay, I was a part of a previous ad hoc years ago, which was for a cannabis dispensary. All right, it took a long time. What, I don't know, that was 2016. How long has the provisions been there? About a year?
Maybe
So
two.
it
I'm not sure, yeah.
took like 8 years, you know, but it happened. Not saying that we want this to take that long, and even, you know, with Measure E, we're looking at maybe 4 or 5 years out, so it's much shorter, but no promises, but we're, you know, definitely the intent is there, the energy is there, the really good possibility of it happening is there. So that's what we're working with, and, you know, we just need to push that.
You had your hand up in the back corner for a while.
I think that's an interesting idea, but I would also like to have some transparency about how that $1.5 million from Grandland is being used from a taxpayer perspective before just asking for volunteers. Because I think it's fair to have the taxpayers know how much that's going for materials versus labor, et cetera, before just asking for open volunteer.
Is that public information, Zach?
That's public information.
You wanna grab? Take my card.
Good on you, good on you.
Are you guys from Grindline?
All right, yes, Orion.
Again, meeting from Tim Kaiser, he said this meeting is to talk about expansion, but that's not where we have to start. He said, have many on the table, have expansion on the table, have pocket parks on the table.
Right.
And have like a big new park on the
Yep.
table.
Yep.
Because grants could determine what's feasible.
Right.
So I think, yeah, just have all the options out there.
Yep.
And just keep,
Once again,
skate shit. I think that's what we're here for. We all want more skate shit.
lots of irons in the fire. When you put a lot of irons in the fire, one of them's gonna get hot, and that's just what we gotta do. Go after as many options as possible.
Seen anybody play bocce ball in 20 years. That takes up about a half acre.
Every Saturday morning, 8 AM, you play bocce ball.
No.
Yeah, every Saturday.
You build it, they'll come.
I have not played.
I don't know.
I think most of the crowd went to Gateway. I think most of them went to Gateway, but you know.
And
So-
we make pickleballs made out of marshmallows.
Only if they're the organic ones, man. The other ones fall apart. Any more questions?
Date of the existing contract.
November.
November is what they're looking at. So yeah, it's a good point. Give you guys just an update on the new park project. So they're working on drainage now. George could probably fill in a little more if needed, but yeah, they're telling us they're still on track for November. So
We, I would like to say something, like.
Of course.
We just came to represent Grindline and you guys, cause we are you guys, we wanna build rad shit to skate.
Yep.
We have your backs, I see Bob all the time, I love that dude.
Cool.
I see Andy all the time, I love that dude, you guys are all one community, we see you that way.
Yep.
Sure, there'll be squabbles, that's fine, but like, we're just here to build rad shit, we're not stealing.
Sweet.
We're actually, I'll give hours to build rad shit, but, you know, so that's why we're here.
Cheers. Thank you.
Love the attitude, man. That's beautiful. Keep that up.
and I'll touch on one other thing real quick. So if you guys haven't done so already, if you go onto the city website and just search for newsletter, you'll go in and you can pick from a bunch of different newsletters, but one of them is Skate Park AdHoc Committee. So you guys get updated on when the next meeting will be, or if there's any new information that comes out. So just City Guys Pie website, search newsletter, and you'll find it there.
Thank you for that.
Eric, you gonna say a little something?
Yeah, if I may.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. I know how much time you've already spent on skate park stuff and how much more time you stand to gain on skate park stuff. I know people keep saying that we need to forget about the past because we can't change it, but that doesn't mean that our past can't influence our future and we can't learn lessons from it.
Agreed.
Unfortunately, the reason you guys are sitting up there is because
the previous project didn't exactly go in a way that truly benefited the city. I think you guys on the city council and at the city have acknowledged that. And that's why this ad hoc committee exists.
Yeah.
Because we kind of got shortchanged by the fact that you demolished existing skatable space instead of leveraging all of that funding to build new skatable space. And now we're going to be fighting a 5-year uphill battle to try to get funding for skatable space that we could have already had because we could have had 2 skate parks instead of 1. And we're getting a smaller one instead. So yeah, let's all forget about the past and not learn the lesson and then not know who's to blame for those decisions, you know?
It was in talk for years in the park. The school, the children knew about it before that. too.
Come up to the podium, brother. Say whatever you want. Give me my time, please. All I'm saying is that the reason that this ad hoc committee exists is because of the shortcomings of the previous effort to build skatable space in this community. And I just don't want us to lose sight of that.
Sure, that's acknowledged, heard, you know, and, like, you know, I wish I was sitting at the table 2 years ago, you know, I might have had a little bit more say, but, at this point, it is what it is, and, you know, I agree, everything must be acknowledged, and you gotta learn from these lessons. But it's the value that comes out of this is that we are a tight community, that we can move forward regardless of, the previous result. And I mean, what other choice do we have? I mean, I get, you know, we've had discussions about this, and I totally get it. It's unfortunate sometimes. I even said it in the meeting, you know, sometimes there are bad contracts, or sometimes contracts are meant to be broken, and just in this instance, it didn't really work out in any of those ways, and the end result is a new park and a demolished, beloved, you know, old park, unfortunately. But at this point, we just gotta hammer it out, man. You know, and I know how you feel, and I know how a lot of people feel, you know, here feel.
I just hear a lot of conversation about collaboration, and when I was involved from the very beginning of that previous project, no one was willing to compromise, listen to voices of reason, take outside feedback. And
Yeah.
those people who steered the ship steered us into a iceberg, and they're trying to tell us it's a tropical island. And it's not. We're not getting something better, we're getting less. And it's not similar enough in square footage, and we didn't need to lose the existing square footage to begin with. So yeah, I'm looking forward to undoing that kerfuffle, but right now I'm still really bent that we all have to dedicate the amount of time and energy that's gonna be required to accomplish that.
I'll respond, and you know, others may want to respond as well. I'll just say that, you know, I think we're constantly facing this battle in America, you know, in any community. You know, the idea of our forefathers was to have a government that protected our rights, and you know, was not telling us, was not dictating to us the way it was. Should be the other way around. So that is another focus that we all need to work on, is being involved with our community and trying to, you know, say and do the right things. You know, present yourself in this atmosphere in public setting. You know, set the example, voice your opinion. More people being involved is, you know, always going to be better. And I think that's something to take out of this, is that, you know, we can't rest on our laurels ever. You know, like it's a constant battle. You know, we may think things are rosy and because of some of the decisions that are made by our government, and then sometimes that gets flipped on us, you know. There's plenty of examples I could give because I study this stuff pretty much daily, but that doesn't mean that it can take the full steam out of we the people and what we do and what we have to offer and what we can, you know, our input and really our power. You know, we really have more power than the governments that are instilled. We just have to recognize that and do our part. And so that's a great lesson to learn out of this. I mean, you know, it's probably the biggest and main reason why I got involved in government, is because I see the injustices. I see that, you know, the people are supposed to, you know, have way more say and more power, but it just isn't that way sometimes, or in many instances. So let's change it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's change it from the inside if we can. Let's change it any possible way we can. And that starts with bringing people together in this room, no matter, you know, the different feelings and ideas and outlooks and just, that's it, man. We gotta hammer away now. When is now the right time? Is my question a lot.
Yeah.
When is now the right time? Now is the right time. So let's do it now.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thank you, man. I appreciate what you say.
So I gotta say something on what Eric said, and all the respect to Eric too. But I was 16 when the topic of a new park got brought up. I'm 18 now. It's been 2 years. How are you guys just now starting to get angry about this? You guys had so much time to put in words. I was still in school when the words were being brought up. I put in an opinion, and all my other classmates in the skate elective put in an opinion. And that wasn't just for the students either. That Google form was for everyone, and it was being shared everywhere. I was posting it on my story to get people to put their decision in there. And now that we came to a decision, you guys are angry about it. It's been 2 years. And that's all I gotta say. This isn't some last split decision. We had the idea for it, and it got brought up a year, and you could have talked about it last year. We could have talked about it the day the new idea came up for it. But the fact that it took this long to do it is kind of outrageous to talk about it. Where were you guys then? Because I was at the community meetings. There was no words being brought up. No words. I was there.
Well, gentlemen, and everyone in the room, I appreciate both those points, and I acknowledge that, and we don't need to forget. And we want to learn, and we want to take advantage of the time we got now and move forward. And I appreciate that both of you have the passion to bring it. And so we don't want to minimize it. We want to give space for it to just focus on everything that we can here forward, but we're not trying to forget it. We appreciate, not one person on staff was trying to minimize anyone's voice. We appreciate that you did hear, and you did get the chance, and you did put that and promulgate that process. But we're here to hear that sometimes that process didn't work too. But but what's most important is that we just take advantage of everything that we got moving forward. And I appreciate the passion that goes into that on everyone's part. So I'm not.
I think Mikey brought up something about marshmallows. We need to have a kumbaya moment, We need to gather around. We need to gather around the fire and whatever, trout on a stick. I don't know, let's make it happen, Like let's just.
They start at 6:45 and they go to almost 10:30. They got lights. They had lights since I don't even know how long. And all we ever asked for in this town was take down the damn fence and give us lights.
And bathrooms. Hey, I listen, I pay attention. But
that's
right.
I'm saying past 2 years I've lived and participated in this county. That's all the skaters ever asked for was lights and take down the fence so you don't feel that you don't take out the fence.
For sure. No one can argue with the fact that I think that skateboarders have had to face preconceived notions. That's just not fair, right? And so that's 100%.
Heck no.
That conversation is starting to change. And I think we're there. We've had conversations about the lights. I cannot tell you. I don't know if we have to change rules around the park, or if we have to vote on it. So if there's any vote involved, right, that's when I start getting vague about what I think. But I haven't. We understand that lights bring something to the table, and it's not like we're turning the lights on at 2 a.m. Right? It's giving people the ability to skate till 8 or 9 p.m. Yep. Whenever baseball does, right?
Baseball lights are on that park. With at least 10 years, from 6 to 9 o'clock, not a soul. They play games at like Saturday at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They still have lights. They just re-turf both fields at Condon and both.
Memorial. Yeah.
Within the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Here's the other idea that I brought up, and I've even had some participation on this is that step up and run, man. Step up and run for city government. If you really step up and run for county government, step up and get involved, and that's how you're going to make changes. Like I said, it's something. This is, I feel really privileged and honored to be sitting in this seat. But I had a mission, I had intent to be here because I want to make serious change, in our community and within this body, within our city government, because this country isn't actually running on the fundamental principles that we fought for. However, that doesn't mean that we can't change it back to how it should be, and so that just takes a lot of effort, involvement. Do your research, do your studying, step up, be a part, run for office, volunteer for campaigns, get your people that you think are going to be best representing the community into office, et cetera, et cetera. I could tell you just from working with Tom a little bit, man, he's a community guy. He's a family man, runs a business in this community. We need more people like that. That really value what's going on here, have a stake in, the full spectrum of what it takes to be involved in this community. And I can't really say more on that. It's just do your best, and I think there's a couple people in this room that actually are taking that to heart, and they're gonna step up and run for office or whatever it may be that they feel they can make a difference in. So attend more meetings. Doesn't even have to be this meeting, it could be the county supervisor meeting. Just whatever you can do to make the difference, and then follow through on that. Be consistent, because that's how we get it done. Is the consistency, is the involvement, is the communication, etc. So once again, I'll leave it with that. But I feel you. You're really you're speaking out right now. So it's a big start. Yeah, no, totally. No, we want you. Come on, step up, man. I'm not joking. You're willing to step up right now, so let's go. Yeah, me too. Navy corpsman. All right. Anybody else? We can meet and greet, man, and talk a little bit more. Or how do we feel about having more meetings? I see a hand here.
And bathrooms. Do you have couple questions I'm gonna ask about? Is it okay if I ask you questions or what?
Sure, yeah.
What's gonna happen with the bathrooms up there? They are so gross.
They're getting replaced.
When?
Good question. Within this year. The funding's there. They're gonna demo the one by the barbecue. That'll get moved over to where the caretaker's house was in that area, and then the skate park one will get demoed or replaced one, or not the disc golf one.
It's gonna get replaced.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you been in there lately?
Oh yeah. Not lately, but I know what they look like. That's why they're getting replaced.
Now you're paying somebody to walk up every night and clean the toilets and the sink, not being done. If you also look at the fountain where the kids are in the park, the fountain is so gross, it's caked with grime. And it's not clean.
So this means
I know.
it's for the skate park. You know where to find me. My card's here. If you want to talk about some of the other facilities and amenities, I'm happy to do that.
What is your vision about the skate park? How much was it that you got for a grant?
We got $3 million overall, but not all that was for the skate park.
Yeah, $3 million for the skate park.
No.
1.5, right?
1.5 went to the skate park.
For the grant.
We hauled in a grant that was for multiple things. $1.5 million of that grant was specifically for the skate park. We hauled in a grant for $3 million. Overall, it funded, we had to apply for, it was all kinds of things. We a fourth mastication, we spent some money on that. We have some staff members whose salaries are paid out of it. And I don't know the answer to all that either. So
A lot
what's that?
of mastication.
We were trying.
Go down to the dog park.
I like this guy. He's resourceful, man, you know?
Expect to be done in November.
Even though there's already a few people in.
Cause I go by there, they're really slow.
She picks up off the beer can.
How do we feel? I'm sorry, go ahead. How do we feel about, how do we feel about the meetings? Shall we schedule another one in 2 weeks? Do we want another one in a month? It would be good to get some input on that, and then also if we can take this meeting, once a month's good? Everybody feels good about that? Okay, should we think about convening at the park next meeting? All right, I like that. This is air conditioned, right, you know? All right, so Zach, I think we can take that and run with it once a month. Probably the same second Monday of the month is okay with you guys? Yeah. Okay. If there's other questions, we'd be happy to answer, or comments, or we can adjourn this meeting and just talk a bit.
No, but all they can do is their best. And they're pretty good with their timelines. Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks, y'all. Yes.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. We'll see you in a month, huh? So hopefully.
Well, see, bad. What? It's good.
Right on, Tom.
Nice work. Yeah, you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you. Hey, man.
Appreciate your time.
I know, man. Hey, here, I'll go.
Yeah.